They are gone.
Yeah.
The voices of my mother's gods. I cannot hear them anymore. Not even a whisper.
Not even a whisper.
They are lost. You will not see them or hear them ever again.
Ooh.
You lie, child. Or whatever you truly are behind that innocent face.
No, Jane Cassander. I speak
I
the
just want him to
truth.
turn into some kind of like awful dragon or something and eat
What
her.
remained of your mother's gods has been destroyed. And the power of creation has fled this grove. It will never return.
You told me that this forest grew from a seed of the first creation. Is it dead then?
That cannot be. My mother searched for thousands of years, and this was the only remnant of her gods that she ever found.
The power in this forest might have been used to restore the old gods and all their servants to life. Not the twisted half-life that you gave them, Jane Cassander. A true rebirth, as they were at the dawn of the world.
What?
But you called upon that power to destroy, not to create. You twisted the power of creation to your own ends, until all that was left was an empty shell, rotted from within.
How did she...
And now, it is gone.
How did she do it?
And the Archons I fought in the forest? The ones that Jane restored to life?
Dead, wilted like blossoms, and scattered to the wind.
Creepy job.
When you slew the reborn god, all Jane's creations were undone.
Ouch. She's still bendy. Look at this.
In time, the forest will recover. But it will be ordinary. No longer the Mournweald, with the power of creation at its heart.
Why did this power respond to Jane and no one else?
Jane's mother was first sister. When she died, her fire passed to Jane. The first sister stood at the right hand of her gods. Only pale shadows of their minds persisted in this grove. But they remembered her. That is why Jane saw her gods in visions and dreams, just as her mother did before her. And that is why Jane could unlock the power that was buried here.
The forest was already corrupted, even before Jane tried to call the Archons back to life.
The first time Jane called on the power of the old
Lucas
gods,
looks possessed.
it was to murder Hugh Montbaron 30 years ago. She knew she was misusing that power, but she was too full of anger, and she didn't care.
She's like right there.
After that, the Mournweald grew rotten and sick. All its potential for good was lost.
So she came back and made the same mistake a second time.
Yes, driven by anger again. So the Archons that she called back to life were nothing but monsters. It was the same for the Creator God. The creature that you fought was shaped by Jane's fury and guilt.
Guilt!
Yes, Jane Cassander. You can hide your remorse from yourself, but you cannot hide it from me.
I love how orderly all these conversations are. There's like not even a mechanic for people to cut each other off or speak over each other. It's just like everybody takes their turn. It's quite amusing. All these games are like that.
We have a decision to make. What
So
to do
unlike
with
real
Jane.
conversations.
Remember what she did. Not only to my father, but to all the rest of the Legion too. It was her crime that started this.
I expect no mercy from the Legion. Do as you like.
I said I would, so.
No, you won't die today. I promised Rosalind that I'd spare your life.
Little Queen Mouse. I owe my life to that cringing girl. That is a fine irony. Am I to be your prisoner, then? Paraded through the streets in a gilded cage.
The queen can have you. You're exiled. I wonder if, like, you chose the death one, if you choose her type of death.
Atone for all the suffering you've caused. Help us to rebuild the kingdom.
You are not the Legion I remember. They were arrogant, and they would never have proposed such a thing. Very well. You have my promise.
I decided I would not be a
use what
bitch.
influence I have to help you heal this country. Let the war between us end.
By those words, Jane Cassinder, you are bound to the Legion now.
Says the glowy Edward child.
It's over then.
For now, you deserve a rest. But it may be short-lived.
We need to build our strength and train more legionnaires.
Wait, what are we fighting now?
You will find many willing to join the Legion now. Even a few who might surprise you. And you will need them soon. The country is still divided, and the Legion has many old enemies who yet live. But you've shown yourself to be fair, as well as strong. Whatever happens, the people of Ebb will stand behind you.
Time to leave, I think. Odo and Martin must be waiting for news.
We part ways then. I will be watching.
I will be watching.
And one day,
Ah,
I will see you again.
I'm falling into a coma. Oh. Whoa.
You bid farewell to the Radiant Youth.
Calculus of
And he
victory.
sent you back to our chapter house in Stonebridge, where I awaited your return. In the weeks that followed, news spread of Jane Cassinder's defeat. Her army scattered, giving us time to rest and regroup. Martin Guiscard returned safely from the Spire, along with Meister Wolf and the Automaton army. Only a few weeks later, elections were held in Stonebridge. Meister Wolf, who had been so public in his support of the Legion, almost won the office of mayor.
Why are
But
they
he was
throwing
defeated in the end.
tomatoes at him?
Many people had wanted the dapper old gent to hang. They resented the fact that the Legion had spared his life, and they blamed poor Wolf. After the humiliating events in the Foundry, Meister Castle was forced to resign as Guildmaster of Ironmongers. The Cyclopses negotiated a new contract for higher wages, and with the help of Meister Fiddlewick, formed a new workers' union. For the first time in 100 years, they were permitted to leave the Foundry and spend their newfound wealth in the markets and taverns of Stonebridge. Cyclopses are becoming an increasingly common sight in Stonebridge, and many believe that they will eventually take their place as equal citizens of the town. Archambault du Payen, formerly known as the Dapper Old Gent, proved a valuable addition to the Legion. His knowledge of Legion magic allowed us to retake control of the Sentinels that had long guarded our chapter houses and estates. But the Gent couldn't leave our chapter house without drawing an angry mob. His confinement started to drive him mad. So he returned to his beloved causeways, beneath an endless sky, and he dwells there still.
Angry mobs.
With the reopening of the Heroes Crypt, pilgrims returned to the Rukenval, and merchants followed. The following winter was harsh, just as Lazar Basili feared. But thanks to the trade from the south, the people of Ravensrill stayed warm and fed. When spring came, many more pilgrims arrived, and the town of Ravensrill grew wealthy again. Lazar and his people built a new stone wall around the town, and reclaimed their abandoned houses and farmsteads from the forest. It is a happy change of fortune for a long-suffering town. In his last letter to me, Lazar added one other piece of news. Gunderic Manor has a new mistress, a witch called Leona. The manor has become a gathering place for scores of Lescanzi witches.
So it turned into a
Many of
brothel.
them are apparently quite beautiful. Lazar reports that the young men of Ravensrill have also begun frequenting the manor, much to the irritation of their mothers and wives.
Wow.
Since the local men will not hear any talk of banishing the witches, it appears that Leona and her people have
Whoa,
found a
creep
new
smell.
home, which was perhaps what she intended from the start. Queen Rosalind abandoned Glitterdelve, embarking on a tour of all the cities and towns of the West, meeting as
She looks like
many
she's
of her
just floating
subjects as
around
she could.
demonically.
The Queen showed all the energy of youth, and I think she fully expects to reunite the country in a matter of months, not years. Reality may not be so kind as Lord Devonsey has tried to make her understand. In truth, the future of this country depends more upon what we decide. If she doesn't have the Legion behind her, the Queen is only a single voice, well-meaning though she might be. As for Devonsey himself, I think the man was impressed by your decision to spare Jane Cassander, as the Queen had asked. When he last visited Stonebridge, he spent a great deal of time in our chapter house. I believe he might actually be willing to rejoin our ranks, if we choose to accept it. Rajani and her sisters returned to Stonebridge, quietly and carefully disguised. Jane Cassander's defeat affected them deeply, though not in the way I expected. Their devotion to Jane was replaced by a deep admiration for your companion, Anjali. I think they saw in Anjali the leader they should have followed all along, and they have lately expressed a desire to join our ranks. I maintain my suspicion of any Archon who once followed Jane, but I believe that redemption is not impossible.
This is long.
Jane Cassander was as good as her word, though I had my doubts at first. She returned to the cities and towns of the East and urged the people to end their war with the Legion and the Crown. Jane's repentance was heartfelt, and many were swayed by her words. But others have not been so compliant. The Church Synod in Bisselberg, who once called Jane a saint, have declared her apostate and threatened her life. Though Jane refuses bodyguards of any kind, Queen Rosalind fears for her life. And if anything befalls her, our gains.
Whoa, that guy's sliding out with a knife.
As for the Legion, the rest of our story is yet to be told. We have a nation to reforge, a fellowship to rebuild, and old enemies who would see us destroyed. And we have questions to decide. Who will assume true power in Ebb if the nation is restored? And who will take the mantle of Grand Master?
Grand Master?
But these matters I leave for another chronicle. And another
A sequel
time.
that probably won't come about.
Whatever happens, know that you will not face the future alone. The Legion will stand by you.
Unless they're all
Always.
slaughtered again. Da, da, da. And that is the Dungeon Siege series. Holy cow. That was a long recap of events. It's kind of cool that every decision you make makes changes in the game and stuff, but it really doesn't change everything overall. Anyway, actually I had to run downstairs for a second. I just wanted to finish off my thoughts there. Yeah, it was kind of cool that every decision you made had ended up having a different ending at the, I don't know, it had different dialogue options and different little stories for the end, I suppose. I think what they do is they have every clip's coded, so there's 5 clips that could be played in each situation. So they just pick whichever one based on what dialogue options you picked or whatever, so, or what quests you undertook. I missed a bit of the credits there, but whatever. I had to run downstairs for a second. Lens flares! Yeah. So I beat it. First time ever. Oh, these are the people we have to blame for all the... No, I'm just kidding. Overall, it's not that bad. I think it made me more angry the first time I played it. This time, it helped that I was actually maxed out level by the time I got to the final boss there, so I could actually finish it. I don't think I would have been able to finish it in my other account. I was too weak. I would have had to farm outside for a while. The DLC definitely helped level though. And all the rage that I encountered. While warranted, I think it's just because I wasn't a high enough level. Then again, the bosses and stuff like that really weren't that sophisticated. Every single boss we encountered only had about 3 or 4 different move sets. And then they just kept spamming him, and then when they do as much damage as they do, it gets frustrating because all it becomes is just trying to dodge that while you do like barely any damage in return. Though I probably should put more damage or into attack instead of just willpower, because my willpower ended up being devastating and my attack was just useless. The attack was just used to generate focus, so... Katarina. Why you dress so scantily clad? Your belly button is showing. That doesn't seem safe. It would be really easy to disembowel her. It's just like... It seems like a very important place to have armor, in my opinion. At least Jane Cassandra actually had frickin' armor there, even if it was all bendy. I can't speak. What the heck is sitting in the middle of that chasm? Yeah, out of all of them, Shooty was probably the most, I don't know, like, it didn't fit with my style this time. I played her first last time. I liked the idea of the guns, but... Cast English Crispin. I like that name, actually. Crispin. What the heck is that thing? I don't remember that thing. Meister Fiddlewick. Puppies. Bum, 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 bum. I still don't think they should be fighting with high heels. It seems ridiculous to me. They have some pretty artwork here. Derpy, 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 derpy. What else? The controls were improved. I remember the first time I played it, the controls were absolutely disgusting. Like, it was so difficult. I have no recordings or record of what it was like before. Just my memory, which is patchy at best, but I'm so glad that they kind of patched it and made it a little bit more playable. The camera was awful in a lot of cases. It would have been so much better if I could zoom out, like the corrupted creator or whatever at the end there. That was a good camera. I liked that camera. The only problem I had with that one is it kind of like munched too much to one side or the other, and then if you started going to the one side, it didn't turn fast enough. And he was way too repetitive. Like that boss fight was just all, yeah. It just became a kind of a routine by the end. Yeah, I would have liked to see a little more complexity in some of the fights. Oh, that battle with Rajani pissed me off so much. Yeah, I never actually felt like I needed to switch difficulties at any other point. It was just that one battle. I don't know why it pissed me off so much, but like, I think what it was is I couldn't even just fight her. I had to go through a bunch of stuff and then fight her every single time I failed, kind of thing. Oh, going up to there, and then by the time you get there and then you realize you're not high enough level, you can't go back and fix it because you're stuck inside the freaking gate. So you're stuck. You gotta go back to like a different save point. There's no way to get out of that, which really pissed me off. That was another thing why it pissed me off. Some of the save points in this were really good, and some of them were awful. Just terrible. That fish too, that fish pissed me off. And the spider. And, well, the statue pissed me off for a while, but then I'm just like, it's just hard. Strangely enough, one of the toughest bosses, that undead priest guy, I actually liked that battle. That was actually a way more complex battle. That was part of the DLC stuff. He had a lot of the same moves, but there was a lot of him I couldn't read. Like, I had no idea when he was gonna dash or summon dudes. But I kind of figured out that when he summons guys, he has a tendency to teleport or dash, so... Didn't they already do the cast for English? Are we just doing this over and over again? Like, oh my god. Anyway, that's okay. You got to see pretty artwork. Just go over and over again. Yeah. Oh yeah, you can do online. Might be easier to do some online stuff actually. But yeah, Dungeon Siege 3, there you go. I'm gonna stop recording now.